I swear to God, if he walks through that door, I won't get married. Her voice ricochets through the vestibule like a thrown glass. I am half a foot from the oak door, my palm on the iron handle, my breath fogging the stained glass, and the whisper swirl of guests beyond freezes it rustle. The church smells of lily and floor polish. The choir hums something hopeful that does not belong to me. I don't see her face, only her shadow stretched across the aisle, white and trembling like a flag that hasn't decided what wind it believes in. Someone places a hand on my shoulder firm, a warning. Sir, you can't be here. I keep my palm on the handle, as if it were the last warm thing left in a cold world. And I think, 1 week ago, my name still fit in my own mouth. The coffee at Ruthie's tastes like the bottom of a tin roof in July, and I drink it because habit has a tongue of its own. Red vinyl squeaks under me. I've been coming here long enough for the stool to know my shape and to forgive it. The bell on the door keeps time with the lives of people who have never once rehearsed their lines and yet show up every day. Same as always? The waitress asks. The name tag says June, but in my head she's kiddo. Even at 50, with shoulders strong from carrying trays and other people's sorrows. Same as always, I say. Make the toast dark enough to scare me. June pours. You look like a man who's been thinking since before sunrise. I've been practicing. I tap my phone face down against the counter. It sits there like a dog that might bite the wrong person if I give it an inch. June leans in with the conspirator's mercy that diners were built to hold. All right, George. You want me to ask what's chewing at you? Or you want me to tell you how you're going to fix it? Tell me, I say, and try on a smile that doesn't fit. You're going to pick up that phone, call whoever put that crease between your eyes, and say exactly what you mean like a decent man. She plops the toast down, dark and honest. And if it's your ex, start with sorry. Sorry always buys you at least 2 minutes. It's not Linda. It is and it isn't. It's Emily. She's getting married. June's eyebrows climb like a pair of cats trying for the top shelf. Well, why are you sitting here? Go buy a tie. I turn the phone over. My daughter stands in a white dress on a pier under a green canopy. She looks like sunlight giving itself permission. Next picture. Floral arrangements. Next. A cake tall as a hope I know better than to have. There is no invitation in my mailbox. No call. Just a world carefully built around a space where I used to stand, plastered over in tasteful colors. You don't look like a man with an RSVP, June says. Soft now, the way nurse voices get at 3 a.m. I don't look like a man with a lot of things. I swallow. I heard from a friend who heard from a friend. That's how good news finds me these days. Secondhand. Smells like someone else's house. Call her, June says. Call your girl. Girls get older, I say. They start calling themselves women. She's still your girl, June says. My dad's been gone 12 years, and he still barks at me in my dreams to check the oil. She tops off my cup. Call. The screen brightens under my thumb. My reflection swims muddied blue work shirt. Road map lines along my eyes. EMILY is there, the number I've had since she was 15. And I bought her a cheap flip phone so she could call me from our kitchen to truck stops in Nebraska. It rings once, twice, 3 times. A voice that isn't hers. Hello? Robert. His name I know the way you know a street you're trying to avoid. This is George, I say, and hear gravel in it like a threat I didn't intend. Emily's father. A pause so deliberate I can feel a smile at the end. Ah, George, good morning. I'd like to speak with my daughter. She's unavailable. Cheerful, managerial. Wedding week. You understand. I understand she has a father, I say. I'd like to congratulate her. Another pause, long enough to move money. I'll pass it along. Pass along that I'm proud of her, and that I don't need flowers or a fancy plate. Just a chair. If she's willing to give me one, I'll make myself small. George, he says, as if he's mowing the lawn with my name on it. These things, they're delicate. Sometimes the most loving thing a man can do is stand back and let the picture be clean. I worked 40 years so she can have a picture, I say. Sometimes the picture needs the man who paid for the frame. I'll pass it along, he repeats, voice cool as a lake in early spring. Have a blessed day. He hangs up before I can say mine is already spoken for. June watches me tuck the phone away. Well, he'll pass it along. I try to grin. Maybe it'll ride in the back of a limo if it's good. June folds her arms. You going to sit still? I've been a lot of things, I say. Still ain't one of them. My toast goes cold while I count out cash I can't afford to spend and worth I can't afford to lose. When I push through the glass door, the phone buzzes. Unknown. Stay away from her wedding. I stop with my hand on the door, reflected twice over in the morning light. I read it again, slower, as if the meaning might soften at a different speed. Stay away from her wedding. Trouble? June calls after me. Just practice, I say, for something bigger. Afternoon. Linda's place is a pretty two-story with a porch that thinks it's in a magazine. She planted hydrangeas the year we signed the divorce papers. They bloom like they're trying to apologize for surviving the winter. I knock. Footsteps pause in the hallway the way they always did. Linda looks through the curtain first because she's incapable of letting the world in without checking its identification. She opens the door with a smile she learned from church, careful, ironed, merciful at a distance. George. Not surprised, not thrilled, not anything. She holds the door like a gate she'd prefer to keep closed. What brings you? Hydrangeas, I say. Wanted to see if they're better than last year. They are, I shrug. And our daughter's marriage. Her mouth tightens. This isn't a good time. It's the only one I got. I lean on the railing, not crossing the threshold. Some wars don't need me charging. Why didn't I get an invitation? Because Emily didn't send you one. Linda pulls her cardigan tighter. She's made boundaries. It's healthy. Healthy like a fence around a graveyard, I say. You tell her I was at the hospital at 3 in the morning when she had her tonsils out. Tell her I sat there with orange soda and a crossword from 1993 and told the nurse she didn't need to wheel me out when I fell asleep in the plastic chair. Linda's eyes flicker. Old things live in those eyes, and they're not done speaking. She knows you love her, Linda says. That's not the problem. What is then? Optics, she says at last. A word that looks silly in her mouth. Family harmony. Robert's family is very particular. Emily's therapist has been helping her set boundaries with people who trigger old patterns. I'm an old pattern now? I ask. I'm a sweater she outgrew? You're a lot of things, she says, softening. You can be loud. You can be stubborn. You can take a room like it owes you money. Rooms owe me nothing, I say. I drove through enough of them to know. She looks past me at the street, like better answers might be coming up the block. He thinks you make Emily anxious. Who? Robert. That careful smile again. The one you use when you're selling a used car you know ain't right. You believe him, I say. I believe what I saw, Linda says, voice careful as a seamstress's hands. You and your temper in that kitchen. The shattered cup, the blood. Emily was 13. I threw the mug into the sink, I say, because I was angry at myself for missing your mother's birthday. It hit the faucet and broke, and a shard cut her thumb. I've said sorry for that night more times than I've said my own name. Linda's eyes shine but do not spill. I know you say that. I also know how fear smells when it moves into a house. I never hit you, I say. No, she says. But sometimes words bruise as long. The porch light doesn't come on in the afternoon, but it feels like it does. A click. Something exposed. I should say I'm sorry again. I do. I want to be there, I say. I'll sit in the back. I'll stand if there's no chair. I won't say a word unless she wants a word. If she wanted me to wear a suit made of ice, I'd do it. Just let me be in the room where my daughter becomes a wife. Linda stares at my hands like they're two animals she used to know. I'll talk to her. You'll talk to him, I say, and we both know I'm right. Tell him I have a right to see what I built. You built stubborn children, she says, almost smiling, and a good kitchen table, and a girl who wants to be loved without fear. I built a girl who knows how to drive stick on a hill, I say, who can back a trailer into a space where it doesn't want to go, who laughs when she burns the first pancake and eats the second with too much syrup. That's what I built. Linda looks down the street again. I'll talk to her, she repeats, and closes the door as if she can do it gently enough that I won't feel the latch. And that evening, I rent half a duplex that smells like other people's soup. The carpet is the color of shrug. My living room is a recliner, a stack of mail, and a photo of Emily and Daniel grinning with lemonade mouths at the county fair. The phone buzzes. Unknown. Asterisk. You show up. She doesn't. I type and erase before I finally send. Asterisk, asterisk. Who is this? Asterisk, asterisk. No answer. The blue bubble sits there like a tooth I shouldn't have touched. A knock. Peephole habit. A teenager fills it with a grin. Open up, Grandpa. I do. Chris is 16, and at the age where his arms don't know what to do unless they're holding a skateboard or defending a lie. His hair is shaggy in a way that costs money to maintain. What are you doing here? Mom thinks I'm at Jake's. He barrels past me with the confidence I used to have before it was stolen in installments. I took the long way, so if she tracks my phone, it looks like I'm at Target. You always were good at geometry. I close the door. You hungry? I'm always hungry. He raids my fridge like a raccoon. You have mustard and sorrow. I have bologna if you stack it under the mustard and call it ambition. He laughs. Wheels on smooth road. I heard about the wedding. Your mother tell you, or the mayor put it on the radio. Mom talks to Nana. Nana talks to the entire neighborhood Facebook. He shrugs. I thought you'd want, I don't know, company. That, I say, is exactly what I want. Sit down. Tell me what you know. He perches on the recliner arm like he belongs there, which he does. I know Mom's stressed. I know Robert talks about the wedding like it's a TED Talk, like he's presenting a merger. I know he doesn't want you there. Why? He says you'll make it about you, that you'll cry or stand up at the wrong time or talk to his dad about unions. Chris grins. I told him you'd definitely talk about unions. I might, I say, and can't help smiling. They're the only reason your old man has teeth. Chris leans in. He also told Mom you used to hit Nana. The room goes quiet, like the radiator is holding its breath. I didn't, I say. I didn't, Chris. I look him in the eye the way my father taught me when truth mattered. I shouted. I did a lot of that. I broke my own things to keep from breaking. I left for weeks at a time because the road made more sense than people, but it didn't hit her. I know, he says. Too fast because he's kind. I mean, I figured. Nana would have told me. He looks down at his phone. Emily thinks she remembers. The cup. The blood. That was an accident. My body weighs what it costs to defend yourself against a decade of one story. He's using that knife like a coupon he cuts out when it's convenient. Chris swipes. I've been screenshotting. Screenshotting what? Stuff Robert says. To Mom. To Aunt Emily. He scrolls. He's careful, but he slips. He said, we can't have your father ruining the optics. My parents have expectations, and optics matter for what's next. What's next? His promotion, Chris says. At his firm. And what am I? The stain on his white shirt? You're the whole laundry room, Chris says, trying to make me laugh. Then softer. Mom's not made of knives. She's scared. She wants peace. She thinks peace is neatness. I want peace too. I'm just not willing to pretend I'm garbage to get it. I want you there, he says. That might be enough, I say. That might be all the chair I need. At the door, he turns. If you go, and she says that thing she said, are you still going to walk in? I don't answer. He takes that as an answer and grins, because he understands more than he should. Late in that night, sealing his map I don't have the legend for. The road in my bones is an animal that needs to run. The phone lights up. Daniel. Hey, Dad. Hey, kid. I can't make it home for the wedding, he says. Already defensive. Already building reasons around his heart. Flights are insane. And work. You don't owe me an alibi, I say. I know life costs money. Mom says you're planning to go. I am, I say. And I'm not sure that's what anyone planned. Emily's. Intense, Daniel says. You know how she gets when a line becomes a wall and a wall becomes a fortress. I know. I stare at the dark. Have I been the bad guy in your head too? Or have you spread the villains around? He laughs softly. I don't think my life is a movie, Dad. I think it's grocery lists and rent and one good baseball game a week. When I was a kid, I was mad at you. Then I got a job that kept me until midnight, and I understood more things than I wanted to. But Emily, I think she put your face on every empty chair. I left, I say. I left a lot. You came back, he says. You always came back. That counts too. We drink the same quiet like a bitter tea. Do you remember the night at the lake? He asks. Which one? Memory's a stack of Polaroids, and I can't be sure which he's holding. The one when Emily cut her hand. Mom says something snapped in her. I remember thinking if I could make a joke fast enough, I could fix blood. I exhale. I remember failing. Don't let Robert run this, Daniel says. He's slick. Emily thinks slick means safe. A beat. Don't let him decide the rest of our lives. How do I do that? Be a wall, Daniel says. And then be a door. After we hang up, the ceiling keeps not telling me anything at all. Morning finds me with my eyes open, which is its own confession. I tell myself I'm only walking by, only breathing a world where my daughter exists in silk. The bell over the door betrays me. The boutique smells like champagne and fabric that thinks too highly of itself. Mirrors multiply my wrongness. Emily stands on a little platform, a constellation of women with pins in their mouths orbiting. She's in a dress the color of something fragile. Her hair is up. She sees me in the mirror before she sees me in the room. Dad? She steps down too fast. A pincushion woman clucks. I'm not going to make a speech, I say. I'm just going to look at you. You can't be here. I'm already here, I say. I'll leave. I swallow. You look like the best part of a morning. Don't, she says. Compliments crack her if she's not ready. Please don't. She glances at the women. Can you give us a minute? They scatter like they've rehearsed it. We stand among dresses that cost more than my first car. I called, I say. I know, she says. Robert told me. I asked for a chair. You took so many chairs, Dad. I know, I say. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't buy back birthdays. No, I say. But it keeps you honest when you walk into a room that remembers you doing wrong. I have to protect myself, she says. From what? I ask. From a man who cries at commercials? From a man who will sit in the back and hold his breath until you say he can let it go. From a man who makes everything heavier, she says. From a man who leaves when it's hard. From the idea that love means breaking something and apologizing later. Love means staying, I say. That's what I'm trying to do. You stayed with your truck. Her voice doesn't crack. It hardens. You married the road and came home between routes to borrow sugar. You taught me how to check the oil and how to live without needing you. I wanted you to be strong. I wanted you to be there. The silence between us has furniture in it, and none of it is comfortable. I have boundaries, she says at last. Like a mantra someone sold her in a cheerful office with tissues on the table. If you come to the church, I will walk out. I mean it. I know you do. I nod. I know every time you ever told me something like this, you meant it with every bone. She wipes under one eye, annoyed at herself for being a person. I can't afford a scene. I've never been able to afford anything else, I say, trying to make it a joke. It lands like a confession. You need to go. She looks at the seamstress women returning to hover, grateful for their existence. Please, don't make me hate you to get what I need. I back away, hands up. I hear you. Do you? I do. At the door I turn. You're beautiful, I say. And you're mine even when you don't want to be. I don't know if that's comfort or curse, but it's true. Her mouth tightens the way my mother's used to when she was trying not to smile. Don't come, she says one more time, like a spell. Please. I'll think about what to do, I say, and step out into a world that pretends it's not raining. In a country club lounge at night, the text with the address arrives without greeting. The lobby smells like leather and confident money. A man in a blazer calls me sir, like it's a synonym for interruption. Robert arrives in a suit that has never known ketchup. He shepherds me into a lounge with chairs that think you should be grateful they're letting you sit. Drink? He asks. I'm good, I say. We're both men, he says, smiling like a dentist. We can talk plainly. Plainly is my first language. He gestures with his glass. Emily is the best thing that's happened to me. I intend to give her the life she deserves. She deserves her father at her wedding. She deserves peace, he says. You are not peace. I let that sit. You don't get to decide what I am. He leans in, benevolent the way a man is when he thinks he's winning. He slides an envelope across the table, crisp as a verdict. What's that? Consideration, he says. For you two, I don't touch it. To what? To take a little trip, he says. A few days. Go see your brother in Florida. Or a friend. Take a break from the drama. Come back when the dust has settled. That's a bribe. That's a gift, he says. It's disrespect dressed like generosity, I say. And you do it a lot, don't you? Wrap contempt in tissue paper and hand it to people like Grace. Color rises beneath his perfect shave. I'm offering you an out. I don't want out, I say. I want in. He smiles again, but the teeth look different now. Then I'll tell you plainly. If you come, you will ruin her day. She believes it. I believe it. Everyone who matters believes it. Your father matters, I say. My daughter matters. I matter. He sits back. It must be exhausting, he says, to carry that much need. It must be lonely, I say, to carry that little love. A manager materializes like a conscience. Sir, if you're not a member, I was just leaving, I say, and stand with more pride than is useful. At the door I turn. You tell my daughter I came to talk like a man, I say. You tell her you offered me money to disappear, and I said no. Robert's smile is careful. I'll pass it along, he says, and the world tilts because I've heard that song before. Ruth on the stoop, late night. Ruth sits wrapped in a cardigan like a flag of stubbornness. Ruth has lived here since men wore hats to grocery stores, and she knows the sound of a father trying to make himself small. You walk like you're carrying furniture. Heavy chair. Wedding troubles? How do you know? You've been practicing a speech under your breath for 3 days, she says. And I've been alive long enough to know the sound of a man about to swallow himself. You think making myself small is a good idea? I think men die from swallowing themselves, she says. Come here. She holds out a small velvet box. Inside, a silver tie clip, old and simple, with a dent in the middle like it used to push against something stubborn. It was my Harold's, she says. He wore it to our son's graduation, to our daughter's wedding. It belongs in rooms where people make vows. She presses it into my hand. So do you. I can't take this. You can borrow it, she says. I expect it back after it does its job. What's its job? To remind you that you are not a footnote, she says. You are a sentence. Ruthie, I say, you trying to marry me? She snorts. You snore. Get off my steps. We laugh, and the night forgives me a little. My phone buzzes. Chris. Asterisk, I found something. Call me. Asterisk, I think I can prove Robert's lying. He says when I do, breathless. About the stuff he said you did. I went through some of Mom's old emails with Nana. Don't be mad. And there's this one from like 5 years ago where Nana says she lied to protect herself. About the mug thing. About other things. I think she made it sound bigger so people would feel sorry for her and not judge her for what? For kicking you out that night, he says. She makes it sound like she had to, like she was protecting us. But she writes that she told Aunt Emily what she needed to hear, so Emily would stop calling you when you were on the road. So Emily would practice detachment. The world swims. I sit down on the concrete step. Truth is a poor swimmer and a worse lifeguard. Chris, I say carefully, you can't take a woman's confession in a bad moment and turn it into a weapon. I'm not trying to weaponize anything, he says. I'm trying to make things honest. Robert used that night like a magic trick. I want to show Emily the strings. You're 16, I say. You shouldn't have to fix us. If I don't, who will? He asks, and there's no answer that doesn't make me a coward. Send me what you have, I say. We'll be careful. Careful how? I don't know yet, I say, and hate myself for not knowing. Hash, kettle and confession int. Linda's kitchen next day. The refrigerator hums like an old friend. The table is the one I sanded after Emily carved her initials into it. I thought fixing the surface could convince the damage underneath to agree to be new too. Chris, Linda says, arms crossed like a shield. Give us a minute, please. He goes, pouting like a boy and plotting like a man. I love him enough to worry about what it makes him. You shouldn't drag him into this, Linda says. He showed up, I say, with screenshots. He's trying to breathe around all our bad air. You always did think trouble was oxygen. I think silence is worse. She sits. A long breath leaves her like a secret. I told Emily things I shouldn't have. I know, I say, gentle. I know you were scared. I know you thought I was a storm and you were saving them from flood insurance. I didn't know how to be married to a man who left. She's not cruel. She's remembering. I didn't know how to explain to a girl why the person she loved chose a road over her. I didn't choose the road over her, I say. I chose a job so the house wouldn't turn off in winter. And then the job chose you, she says. And then the quiet chose me back. What do we do now? I ask. You could not come, she says. You could let Emily have one clean day and then call her on Monday. What if Monday never comes? I ask. What if this is the story forever? And I stand on the sidewalk for every next thing. The kettle clicks off. I pour 2 mugs. We sit with them cooling like people who know better. My phone vibrates. A number I don't recognize. Hello? A clipped woman's voice. Mr. Miller? This is Marjorie from Becker & Sons. I'm calling on behalf of Mr. Robert Becker. Yes? He asked me to confirm the details of your travel. What travel? A polite scratch of a pen line. Your trip to Sarasota. Tomorrow. We have a car to pick you up in. I hang up. Linda watches my face like it's a weather report. He tried to buy me a vacation, I say. I'm honored he thinks I can be bought at such a discount. George, I'm going, I say, leaning forward. I'm going to the wedding. She closes her eyes like I'm bringing a storm on purpose. I won't make a scene, I say, but I won't be invisible. You don't know how to be invisible, she says. It's never suited me. In the morning, we meet by the duck pond, where she used to throw bread like a deity. Daylight without complicated hair makes her look younger, like the girl who fell off her bike and laughed at the blood. 2 minutes, she says, sitting on the bench like it might bite. I can do it in one, I say. I won't come. She blinks. Wind moves a strand of hair across her cheek. What? I won't come, I repeat. I thought about what you asked. I thought about my pride. I thought about the story I want for you. And I don't want your story to be, girl gets married in a battle with a door. So I won't come. You mean it? I mean it in a way that hurts, I say, which is usually the way that counts. She looks at the pond, at a duck that doesn't know it's become a symbol. Thank you. I'm not done, I say. I won't come if you do something for me. She tenses. If this is a bargain, it's not, I say. It's a promise. Sit with me next week. Just you and me. Coffee somewhere ordinary. No Robert. No Mom. No opt. I stop myself from giving the word power. No performance. You tell me who you are now. I tell you who I'm trying to be. We start again if we can. Or we say goodbye properly if we can't. She breathes. Okay. Okay. I echo, holding out my hand like we're introducing ourselves. She looks at it and slowly lets me shake my daughter's hand like a gentleman. I love you, I say, because my mouth can't keep it in. I know, she says. Try not to text me during hair and makeup. I'll start drafting my apology now. She bends, kisses the top of my head like I'm something that won't last. Bye, Dad. I watch her walk away until she turns into somebody else's life. In the night, before I lay the tie clip on the coffee table, press my thumb into the dent to see if the world gives. I tell myself I'm not going. I practice not going. I look at the suit in the closet and rehearse not putting it on. The phone lights. Daniel, you good? I'm a man pretending he knows what good is. You going? He already knows. I told her I wouldn't. And I'm a liar if I say I'm fine with that. Silence. The kind that tells the truth gently. Dad, he says, there's a difference between not going and disappearing. I could stand across the street, I say, half a joke. Wave at the church like an idiot. Not a bad idea, he says. Be nearby. Be a wall. Trying to be both is how men fall down. That's parenting, he says. That's life. After we hang up, the phone buzzes again. Unknown. Asterisk. We'll have security. Don't embarrass yourself. Asterisk. I don't answer. Another buzz. Unknown. You were a bad father. Be a good ex. I turn the phone off. The house settles around me like an old dog. I'm going. I say to nobody, which is sometimes the only person who will hear you right. Wedding day into George's bedroom morning. The suit fits like a memory you wore to a funeral. I slide the tie clip on. It clicks into place like it's been waiting. In the bathroom mirror, I practice the face of a man who will not fight. It looks unconvincing. I write a note and fold it into my jacket pocket. Emily, asterisk, asterisk, I won't stay. I just needed to see you be happy. If seeing me makes you less happy, I will walk away. I will always be a phone call, a cup of coffee, a booth at Ruthie's. I love you. The dad asterisk asterisk. I put the note in and take it out and reread it and put it in again. My hobby is second-guessing until the guess is ashamed. Next, church steps. Afternoon Cleveland does a good sky when it wants to. Brick church, opinionated door. Guests sweep up the steps in pastels and certainty. I stand at the bottom and count breaths until another person appears beside me with a wire in his ear. Excuse me, sir. He's the kind of man the world manufactures whenever a rule needs a face. Are you a guest? I'm something like that. Name? George Miller. A small movement in his eyes. I'll have to ask you to wait out here. I can wait, I say. I've been practicing. I stand in the shadow of the door. I can hear the rustle of programs, and the hush people think is reverence. Someone laughs softly and stops, guilty. CHRIs appears like a breath I was holding. You came, he says. I came, I say. He squeezes me with teenager strength. Stay right here. Don't do anything dumb, I say. Let the dumb be mine. He grins and vanishes into the church like a spy. I put my hand on the iron handle. It is cool and human. From inside, her voice-grown woman, steel laced through the girl who once called me Dad the first time like it was the first name for love. I swear to God, if he walks through that door, I won't get married. Time folds. The world holds its breath. A hush rolls over the pews like a tide coming in too fast. Sir, the earpiece says, hand firm on my shoulder. You can't be here. I'm not walking in, I say. I'm just listening. Please, step back. I step back one step. The world advances an inch. Robert materializes in the vestibule, crisp as a checkmark. He stands where he can be seen and lowers his voice to a weapon only I can hear. George, he says, regretful on purpose. You promised her. I promised her peace. I say, I didn't promise you anything. She's crying, he says. Do you want that? For her first memory of marriage to be you making her cry? I want her first memory to be the truth, I say, which is that her father is a man, not a rumor. Chris appears again, breathless, pointing at Robert's chest like it's a target. You tell him, he says to me. Or I will. Tell me what? Robert asks, indulgent. Chris lifts his phone. I have the emails, Mom and Nana, and your text, Robert. To Aunt Emily, you saying, we can't risk the optics with that man there. You telling Aunt Emily, Dad hit Nana when he didn't. You lying. Robert's smile tightens. You're a child. Truth doesn't need a driver's license, Chris says. Inside, a murmur. Linda appears, drawn by the gravity we've made. She looks at me, at Chris, at Robert. The earpiece man hovers like a vulture that's read the rules. Is this what you want? Linda asks Robert, gentle like a scalpel. A scene in a church? Are you that afraid of one man sitting quietly? I want what's best for Emily, he says. And who decides that? Linda asks. You? She turns to me. George, please, don't. I pull the note from my pocket and hold it out to her. Give this to her, I say. Tell her I came and I'm leaving and that both things are love. Linda takes the note. Our fingers touch like old friends who have outlived a war and don't know how to talk about peacetime. She disappears into the church. The door swings. For a second, I see the aisle and the light and the shadow of my daughter in white. It closes. We wait. Time drips. Guests shift. Someone whispers the Lord's Prayer like a spell to make fathers do what they're told. The earpiece man studies a spot on the floor where the carpet is already worn from other people's dignity. Linda returns. She doesn't cross the threshold. She stands in the doorway so the light divides her face into before and after. She says, Linda begins, voice steady. She needs a minute. A minute for what? Robert asks too fast. A minute to decide what kind of woman she wants to be, Linda says. She looks at me. A small surprised smile tugs at her mouth. She wants to talk to you. Alone. The earpiece man steps aside because there are moments when even rules have to sit down. I step into the vestibule, but not yet into the church. Through a gap in the pews, she stands with her bouquet like a flag of truce. She looks at me, and I see the girl at the duck pond and the woman in the mirror and something else. A person choosing. Dad, she says, and the word isn't a weapon and it isn't a plea. It is a handle. I take one step forward. I stop. The choir starts again, quietly, like a heart agreeing to try. I won't come any closer, I say. Not until you tell me how to. She nods, and for a second, We are a bridge built exactly long enough. Robert's voice slides in from behind me, low but not low enough. If he goes in, I'm out. The sound moves through the room like a rat under the floorboards. Heads turn. Emily hears, of course, she hears. Her head lifts like a deer in tall grass. "What did you say?" she asks. Clear, calm, dangerous. Robert swallows. I said, the timing. He tries again. Say it plainly, I tell him. It's your first language. He looks at me, then at the aisle, calculating. His mask slips a fraction. This is not how I pictured it, he says. No, Emily says, velvet wrapping a blade. But it's how it is. She turns to me. The bouquet lowers. Dad, let's walk. She lifts her arm, and the world exhales. I hook my arm with hers. Together we take one step, then two, then three. My knees ache, my chest shakes, but I have never walked straighter in my life. We stop where she asked. This is where I leave you, Em, I whisper. Thank you for coming this far. I nod and slip into the last pew at the back. Every eye follows me. Robert stares at her, fury and panic colliding. Shall we begin? The minister asks, eager to shepherd chaos into ceremony. No, not yet. Emily raises a hand. The church stiffens. Robert, she says, voice ringing across the altar. Before we take vows, you need to answer one question. Did you lie about my father? Robert pales. Emily, please. Yes or no? Mr. Becker surges, voice like a gavel. This is slander. He doesn't need to dignify this with, he lied. Chris shouts from the pews, standing tall. I have the messages. He made Grandpa look like a monster so he could keep him out. Phones buzz. Whispers ripple. Someone's aunt says too loudly. Is that true? Robert reaches for Emily's hand. She steps back. Answer me. Silence is louder than any confession. Robert's eyes dart to his father, to the pews, to me, and then nothing. Emily lowers her bouquet. Her breath trembles, but her voice is clear. Then there's no wedding today. The church erupts, gasps, murmurs, a child crying. Linda stands, pale but resolute. Robert stumbles forward. You can't be serious. I won't marry a man who lies about my father to control me. She turns, eyes finding mine in the back row. For the first time in 20 years, they're not full of blame. They're full of relief. Dad, let's go. I rise. My knees are weak, my throat burning, but I rise. Chris rushes to my side, proud as a soldier. Linda follows, shaken but tall. We walk down the aisle together, past whispers, past broken optics, past Robert Becker frozen in a suit he'll never wear again. Ixed. Church steps, continuous autumn bites sharp. Emily's grip on my arm is tight. She breathes like someone who has just been unburied. I thought I was protecting myself from you, she says. Quiet awe in it, but maybe I was protecting myself from him all along. I touch her cheek, hesitant, trembling. She lets me. I was never perfect, I say, but I never stopped being your father. Tears slip down her face. A smile fights its way through grief and wins. Then let's start over. The bells behind us ring hollow and meaningless. We step down into a world that might finally let us write something new me. Emily and Chris 3 steps into an after that looks suspiciously like a beginning. On the church steps, my daughter leans into me, my grandson at my side. For the first time in years, I am not excluded, not invisible, not the rumor in the vestibule or the ghost in the parking lot. I am where I belong, not in the front pew, not at the altar, but beside my daughter, on equal ground. My face, lined and weary,
Thank you for staying
carries
with me
something new
and
and
listening
old
this
at
far.
once.
Dignity.
Your attention,
And that is
a
where
gift.
this day, this film
Do
of
these
a life
minutes
that
mean
chose
something
to
to
speak
you?
closes.
Then please, follow the channel. Every click from you is a push that helps me keep bringing stories that truly stay with us.